KZOM Radio presents Know Your Cryptids, an in-depth analysis and discussion of all the creatures of legends. Hosted by Matt Jarbo. Hey, what's going on, all you KZOM Radio fans out there? This is Matt Jarbo, and this is our brand new series called Know Your Blank. And Know Your Blank, which of course will have different titles as we go along, is going to be a mixture of knowing your knowing your legendary creatures and knowing your mythical beings and knowing your gods, ancient, old, new, demons, paranormal, supernatural, ghosts, spirits, serial killers, murderers, getting to know people through podcast. This is an idea that I've had for a while and I've always enjoyed, is the idea of just giving informative podcasts that you can listen to that allow you to get to know or reacquaint yourself with knowledge about specific creatures or deities or killers or things of that nature that would fit right into the KZOM home. And this is not going to be about zombies, so this has nothing to do with The Survivalists, our key show here on KZOM Radio. But this show is all about, the other kind of stuff. So welcome to Know Your Cryptids, Episode 1, Bigfoot. So Know Your Cryptids is all about the legendary creatures that we know from myth and legend, such as Bigfoot, Yeti, Loch Ness, Chupacabra, Jersey Devil, Giant Squid, that kind of thing. And each of these episodes are going to be, varied in length. I'm going to go through a bunch of information and then give you guys that to go home with. And so we're going to begin with my personal favorite, because I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, Bigfoot. So get ready and let me know what you guys think. You can email me at kzomradio@gmail.com. And thanks for listening. All right, here we go. Bigfoot. Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, is an ape-like cryptid that purportedly inhabits forests mainly in the Pacific Northwest region of North America. Bigfoot is usually described as a large, hairy, bipedal humanoid. The term Sasquatch is a derivative of the word Sasquatch, which means wild man in Salish Native American language. Scientists discount the existence of Bigfoot and consider it to be a combination of folklore, misidentification, and hoax, rather than a living animal, in part because of the large numbers thought necessary to maintain a breeding population. A few scientists, such as Jane Goodall and Jeffrey Meldrum, have expressed interest and belief in the creature, with Meldrum expressing the opinion that evidence collected of alleged Bigfoot encounters warrants further evaluation and testing. Bigfoot remains one of the more famous examples of cryptid within cryptozoology and an enduring legend. Bigfoot is described in reports as a large, hairy, ape-like creature ranging between 6 to 10 feet or 2 to 3 meters tall, weighing in at an excess of 500 pounds and covered in dark brown or dark reddish hair. Alleged witnesses have described large eyes, a pronounced brow ridge, and a large, low-set forehead. The top of the head has been described as rounded and crested, similar to that of a sagittal crest of a male gorilla. Bigfoot is commonly reported to have strong, unpleasant smell by those who claim to have encountered it. The enormous footprints for which it's named have been as large as 24 inches long and 8 inches wide. While most casts have 5 toes, like all known apes, some casts of the alleged Bigfoot tracks have had numbers ranging from 2 to 6. Some have also contained claw marks, making it likely that a portion came from known animals such as bears, which have 5 toes and claws. Some proponents have also claimed that Bigfoot is omnivorous and mainly nocturnal. History of Bigfoot. Before 1958, wildman stories are found among indigenous population of the Pacific Northwest. The legends existed prior to a single name for the creature. They differed in their details both regionally and between families within the same community. Similar stories of wildmen are found on every continent except Antarctica. Ecologist Robert Michael Pyle argues that most cultures have human-like giants in their focal history. We have a need for this larger-than-life creature, he says. Members of the Lumi tell tales of a local version of Bigfoot. The stories are similar to each other in terms of the general descriptions of the creature, but details about the creature's diet and activities differed between the stories of the different families. Some regional versions contained more nefarious creatures. The Stiyaha, or Kuya, were a nocturnal race that children were told not to say the names of lest the monsters hear and come running off to carry the person away, or sometimes be killed. In 1847, Paul Kane reported stories by the native people about Skookoons, a race of cannibalistic wild men living on the peak of Mount St. Helens. The Skookoons appear to have been regarded as supernatural rather than natural. Less menacing versions, such as the one recorded by Reverend Elkanah Walker, exist. In 1840, Walker, a Protestant missionary, recorded stories of giants among the Native Americans living in Spokane, Washington. The Indians claimed that these giants lived on and around the peaks of nearby mountains and stole salmon from the fishermen's nets. The local legends were combined together by J.W. Burns in a series of Canadian newspaper articles in the 1920s. Each language had its own name for the local version. Many names meant something along the lines of wild man or hairy man, although other names described common actions it was said to perform, like eating clams. Burns coined the term Sasquatch, which is from the Haukomenlem, and used it in his articles to describe a hypothetical single type of creature reflected in these various stories. Burns' articles popularized both the legend and its new name, making it well known in Western Canada before gaining popularity in the United States. After 1958, history of Bigfoot. In 1951, Eric Shipton had photographed what he described as a Yeti footprint. The photograph generated considerable attention, and the story of the Yeti entered into popular consciousness. The notoriety of the ape man grew over the decade, culminating in 1958 when large footprints were found in Del Norte County, California, by a bulldozer operator named Gerald Crew. Sets of large tracks appeared multiple times around the road construction site in Bluff Creek. After not being taken seriously about what he was seeing, Crew brought in his friend Bob Titmus to cast prints in the plaster. The story was published in the Humboldt Times along with a photo of Crew holding up one of the casts. Locals had been calling the unseen track maker Bigfoot since the late summer, which Humboldt Times columnist Andrew Genzoli shortened to Bigfoot in his article. Bigfoot gained national or international attention when the story was picked up by the Associated Press following the death of Ray Wallace, a local logger. His family attributed the creation of the footprints to him. The wife of Scoop Beale, the editor of the Humboldt Standard, which later combined with the Humboldt Times, in which Genzoli's story had originally appeared, stated that her husband was in on the hoax with Wallace. 1958 was a watershed year for not just the Bigfoot story itself, but also the culture that surrounds it. The first Bigfoot hunters began following the discovery of footprints in Bluff Creek, California. Within a year, Tom Slick, who had funded searches for the Yeti in the Himalayas earlier in the decade, organized searches for Bigfoot around the area of Bluff Creek. As Bigfoot has become better known and a phenomenon in popular culture, sightings have spread throughout North America. In addition to the Pacific Northwest, the Great Lakes region, and the southeastern United States have had many reports of Bigfoot sightings. Now here's a couple of the prominent reported sightings of Bigfoot. In 1924, Fred Beck claimed that he and 4 other miners were attacked one night in July 1924 by several ape men throwing rocks at their cabin in an area later called Ape Canyon, Washington. Beck said the miners shot and possibly killed at least one of the creatures, precipitating an attack on their cabin, in which the creatures bombarded the cabin with rocks and tried to break in. The supposed incident was widely reported at the time. Beck wrote a book about the alleged event in 1967 in which he argued that creatures were mystical beings from another dimension, claiming he had experienced psychic premonitions and visions his entire life, of which the ape men were only one component. Speleologist William Halliday argued in 1983 that the story arose from an incident in which hikers from a nearby camp had thrown rocks into the canyon. There are also local rumors that pranksters harassed men and planted fake footprints. In 1941, Jeannie Chapman and her children say they had escaped their home when a 7.5-foot tall Sasquatch approached their residence in Ruby Creek, British Columbia. In 1967, Roger Patterson and Robert Gimley reported that on October 20th they had captured a purported Sasquatch on film in Bluff Creek, California. This came to be known as the Patterson-Gimlin film. Many years later, Bob Hieronymus, an acquaintance of Patterson, said that he had worn the ape costume in making the film. On September 16th, 2007, hunter Rick Jacobs captured an image of a supposed Sasquatch by using an automatically triggered camera attached to a tree, prompting the spokesperson for the Pennsylvania Game Commission to say that it was likely an image of a bear with a severe case of mange. The photo was taken near the town of Ridgeway, Pennsylvania, in the Allegheny National Forest. There are several organizations dedicated to the research and investigation of Bigfoot sightings in the United States alone. The oldest and largest is the Bigfoot Field Research Organization, or BFRO. The BFRO also provides a free database to individuals and other organizations. Their website includes reports from all over North America, and that have been investigated by researchers to determine their credibility. So the mythos of Bigfoot is spans well over 100 years, 150 years almost, and has been a big part of American culture when it comes to cryptozoology and the idea and the belief of cryptids, and other creatures of legend. I hope you enjoyed the first episode of Know Your Cryptid. My name is Matt Jarbo. Tune in next. We'll be discussing the Yeti. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. And you can find us more at Twitter at KZOM Radio, and then the soon-to-be-developed kzomradio.com. So, but for right now, check us out on Twitter and Facebook. Just look up KZOM Radio, and you'll find it. Thanks. Have a great day.